It'll be fun.
Oh, I'm
To get
super
to see space again twice.
well because we were never gonna say goodnight last night. It's like it's just so good to be together again.
Yes.
So welcome everybody. This is the last public panel of there's kind of one tonight. No, so Ghoul Intentions.
Yeah.
Ghoul Intentions is tonight. Jamie, I love your shirt.
Oh, thank you. Adios, bichachos.
It's so great, right? Caitlin's like, I'll decide on that later.
Likes it. Yeah, I knew that Caitlin in particular would like it.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
Yay!
I have another one that says, so they're hand embroidered. And
really?
That says, I'm a sugar and spice and a little bit of go fuck yourself.
Oh man. That's awesome.
This seems familiar, but then I just said the other one, so maybe that wasn't the right move. I don't know.
So parents, that's just the only one. You're good. Don't turn this off for your kids. This is gonna be great. So it's an exciting weekend. This is really cool because we have Kirigiri, who is one of my favorite characters in all of anime, up against Junko Enoshima, who, my goodness, golly goober gracious. So we'll start. Jamie, I love the story of your daughter. Like, that to me was a really cool. So she's a shy person.
She is, yes.
And how did she first get exposed to Junko?
So she was 8. She's 10 now. So she was 8, and it's she came into my life when she was 6. So so she came in and she knew I was in a voice actor. She didn't quite understand it at the time. Hi. And then she basically she had gone to conventions and seen some stuff, and she always saw this girl with the pink hair and this out, and she thought she was really cute and she wanted to cosplay her. And when she told me that, I was like, because they were going to a convention with me and they wanted to cosplay. And so the younger one, Callista, it didn't matter as long as it was cute. But Serafina wanted to be Junko. And I was like, okay, but we have to watch Danganronpa first so you can see it. And so she watched it all.
Okay, did you watch with her?
Yes. And so we could talk about it.
Okay, was it how often was it? And is this person gonna die? And is this person gonna how often did she stop you to ask?
She a little bit, but for the most part, she was trying to figure it out.
Oh, okay. So she was playing detective along with Kirigiri, and
yes,
that's cool.
Yes. And so, which I love because I'm the same way.
Yeah,
so I'm always like, who did it? Anyway, she watched it. After she saw it, she was like, oh my god, I love it. I want to be Junko. And I was like, you're dark and I appreciate it. Let's do it. So I got her the cosplay. I ordered it from Amazon or whatever. The wig was very heavy, but she powered through. And at 8 years old, she went to a convention dressed as Junko. And
what was the What was the response like from?
Oh my god! Everybody was like, "Baby Junko, rah!" They loved it, and they would go up to her and talk to her. And there was a Mount Lady cosplayer who was like loving her, and then she was like, "She's the voice actor for both of them," and then it was really fun.
Oh man!
Point me out, and then. But one of the coolest things, because she has been super, super shy, where she won't even talk to people if they talk to her. She's just too shy. And so she would go approach other Junkos and talk to them about their cosplay. So it was beyond talking back to people who were talking to her and appreciating her cosplay, but then she would reach out and make the steps. And it kind of like was a breakthrough for her in her shyness, that it's okay to talk to some people. And it was really, really cute and really sweet to watch it like empower her, this horribly evil character, but she empowered her to get past her shyness. It was really cute. Oh my gosh, I lost sound.
Yeah, we can't hear you, Brad.
Okay, for me at least, one of the most exciting things about one, the community, the anime community, and then two, kind of cosplay in particular, is that you can pretend to be somebody else, and you can find a character that does things that you don't do, or maybe you're afraid to do, or you're like your shy daughter who's like, I see like Junko's loud and she's obnoxious and she know what she wants, and sure, you got to crack a few eggs to make an omelet, but if you want an omelet, somebody's got to die. So like, but then in doing that, she finds real people and real connections, and like it's exciting to hear that story. I was excited I heard it for the first time. Thank you for satisfying that like me making you say it on the spot.
I love that story. I tell it a lot.
Oh,
so yeah, I love it.
How has that been, like dealing with Harley Quinn and Joker in one character at this, like
I never like that.
Well, right? It's like the ship. It's like somebody just smushed them together, and all the confidence of the Joker and all the crazy of Harley Quinn in what has it been? Because I'm sure people talk to you ad infinitum at conventions about, and the fan base online. Like, how has that been?
It's been great. I'm gonna be honest with you about that. It's a lot of fun. It's fun to be loved. I don't know what else to say. Like, sometimes it's concerning. Sometimes it's like, really? But unlike Harley Quinn, I love that Junko's on her own. She's not doing it for a man. She's not doing all of these things that are horrible because she wants to do them. And as twisted and awful as it is, at least she's her own horrible person. She is her own evil woman.
All by herself.
An evil man behind her. She does it on her own. So, I mean, positives, but also I think most actors will tell you that the villain is always really, really fun to play. It's a good time, and it's cathartic in a way. And just to really, like, I don't know, it's just fun as an actor to play those characters. And there was usually more levels and stuff like that with a lot of villains, but with Junko in particular, for an actor to be given 8 different voices in one character is just amazing. I mean, few of us get the opportunity, but when you get the chance to do more than one character, it's so much fun and just a really wonderful challenge to attack and how are you going to do the different voices and then come back in as Mukuro and do a scene with yourself, like it was a really, really fun challenge. And I'm really grateful to Chris Bevins for casting me as Jamie and being like, that's going to be Jamie. I'm so happy. I love her so much.
And then Caitlin, your eyes kind of lit up when I brought up your villain in Fire Force. See? Okay. So like what is it freeing? Is it exploring a part of yourself that like you're put together, follow the rules, like you would never do? Like, what is the process like of stepping into that like really villain crazy role?
It's exactly what it is it's freeing, because the thing is, villains do not care. They don't care.
Yeah.
Like some of them are very self-absorbed. Most of them are. So if they care about anything, it's themselves. But as humans, we're taught to not be that selfish. Right? It's terrible if you are. You need to put other people before yourself and all of that. And then even as actors, when we're in the booth, we're supposed to let it go and just do whatever the director says. But to some degree, we are hyper focused on what we sound like. And is this going to work? And when I play a villain, I don't freaking care. I'm like, it's all like first impressions of what I see from the Japanese, and something's going to come out. And then I'll adjust to whatever the director wants. Like, oh, do this thing or this timing thing or higher, lower, whatever. But it's playtime when you're a villain.
Okay. Mm-hmm. That's really cool.
Anything goes. Yeah. They're unpredictable. So,
and especially in anime, they are larger than life.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And really being able to just throw anything at the wall as hard as you can and see how it bounces. It's so fun.
I like that imagery of being able to do it almost in a reckless way. That there's, we're always concerned about breaking things, whether it's like physical things or relationships or social norms, or right. We're as a people, at least to some degree, we should. Like, I think we've learned in 2020 that a bit of decorum is okay and maybe missed. but there should be a place, like the idea of safe spaces has been mocked a bit, but in reality, everybody should have a place to go to where you can,
Mhm.
like you said, throw it at the wall as hard as you can. And there has to be some kind of testing ground where you can you can test yourself and say, like, am I up for this? Is it
Which I would say that too speaks a lot to the directors. Going back to the directors, they give us a safe space, because if we didn't feel that way, it would be harder for us to go for it if we weren't in a space that felt like we could do it, you know,
Yeah.
and be safe in that exploration of evil.
Okay, Caitlin, talk about. I mean, you play director on a regular basis. How do you know when to push? How do you, like? Is there something that you can see it in their eyes? Like, how do you know when to ask for more?
You just do it. Like the thing about acting is that you're supposed to be not acting. I just want to believe that you are that person.
Okay. Yeah.
And truth, I had a really amazing teacher in college, the fabulous Betty Buckley, the one and only. I took a couple workshops from her, and something that she said that has stuck with me is this idea that truth and authenticity in acting is like a tuning fork. So the way tuning forks work, they're made to resonate with a particular pitch,
frequency. Yep.
and it'll work when the note is correct. And that we all have that tuning fork about truth within us. So real performances that are authentic and true will connect to an audience member. And so when I don't feel that resonation, that's not a word, guys.
That's not English.
Resonance is a word, though.
Yes.
When I don't feel that, I'm like, do it again. I don't necessarily have to say, like, that was bad or you didn't do it right. But I'd be like, we're not quite there. Just do it again.
One more.
And we're almost there. And then maybe I can eventually put my finger on what the difference needs to be. Because in our case, it isn't just what feels right to Jamie or Caitlin in the moment while we are performing. Right. There are also all these technical things.
Yeah.
Too. So it has to be the correct emotion and also match the face of the character and also match what their mouth is doing. Because unfortunately,
and respond to the other character
and respond to the other characters. Like, and if it doesn't match exactly, it's possible to take the audience out of it.
Yeah.
Suddenly, like, they were in it. This was real. This thing was made in English. But the moment our performance doesn't match how it's animated, they go, oh yeah, this is a dub.
Tell me it's not harder. Tell me that dubbing anime in English is not. Is there anything harder in the acting world?
In the acting world?
In the acting world. Is there anything, if you're on screen, not only do you, like, not have to pretend to be a 14-foot bear in a bikini, like, you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, you don't. The benefit is you don't have to memorize lines.
Okay.
You don't have to be memorized, and you don't have to be like. I think about like the movie stars that are in the big Marvel films and action films too. That could have gone to freaking Juilliard. Some of them did, and they just want to do Shakespeare, but instead they have to be incredibly ripped and go and do their scenes at like 3 a.m.
Okay.
And
all right.
Yes, I think there are things that are comparably harder.
I love that was your answer.
We don't have to do our own stunts.
Yeah.
We don't have to do anything like that. But I want to say this really quickly.
Say anything.
Credit as a director. She makes the space very, very safe. I love Caitlin as a director.
Yay.
I mean, but she knows that. But I will say one of my favorite things about Caitlin is she casts actors so that she can trust the actor to do their job. And there are some directors out there that will just really come heavy-handed and tell you how they want everything said before you record. Caitlin really lets us use our instincts, and she gives us a chance to give our input, because that's why she cast us, is so that we can use our instincts. And she's really, really good about giving actors space to play and then adjusting it as necessary instead of trying to fit us into a previous mold that she has determined. And I love that. I love it so much.
Now, is there, I hear, we've probably had 100 guests on this year. We've done over 20 shows. I feel like I'm hearing more great things about directors, and I don't know if it's attrition or when the studio kind of realizes that there's some magic here, that like, let's just keep this director's great. Let's just, actors are happy. That's good. That's good for our brand. That's good for the product. That's good. Like Clifford Chapin seems to be a guy that's in the booth a ton as a director. Have either of you, well, both of you in My Hero, right? He's your director in My Hero Academia?
No, it's
Oh,
Colleen.
Colleen is, he did the movie. He did the first movie.
Yeah, he helps out a lot, quite
A ton.
often when Colleen gets busy. She'll call on some folks, and because he's a lead, it's a natural decision, because she could ask another director that she's close with or that she's known longer, but I, like, say me, or I guess, but I don't know everything there is to know about My Hero, and Cliff does, because he's Bakugo, you know, like, he's in the story. I show up every once in a while to be like, "Hey fam, what up?" And then I leave.
Yeah.
So
You've directed some of it, haven't you? You have directed some. You have directed some, though.
I did. I helped out on maybe 1 or 2 episodes, because it was like the movie was happening at the same time as the simul dub, and Colleen was out of town, so it was like all hands on deck.
Yeah, Monica directed
and Monica and Clifford.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who directed DxD?
That was a series of people.
Oh, it was a bunch of people. Okay.
Started with Colleen. Colleen did all the initial casting. And then then I think the second season was Mike McFarland.
Okay.
And then the third season was let's see, who Chris, I think.
I feel like texting.
Was it Jade?
Chris George.
Okay.
And then the fourth season was Jade.
Okay, I'm like, Jade did something.
Man.
Yeah, so it's gotten passed around a little bit.
That's incredible then. And I mean, I hadn't planned to go down that road, but hearing about how many different hands that's been in, that series is so loved. The characters and many characters beyond just Reyes are loved across the fan base. That's incredible to hear how many different hands have touched it, and yet season after season. That's because I'm sure you've all heard like so and so ruined. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I ruin it all.
I mean, sure.
My fault. I take it.
The thing that everyone
else that so many people love that show because Jamie was in it, so I'm sure it's terrible.
Awful.
It's gotta be terrible.
Yeah.
How on earth? Okay, somebody help. Does he not direct a bunch of harem animes? I feel like I'm always hearing stories of Clifford where he's been very like, hey, I'm gonna be honest about this thing that you might be asked to do, and I just like those stories are adorable to me. That he like takes the time to be like, so there's some things that we might say today that I just want to talk about up front. Like
that is wise to do if you are a man in this industry.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, a lot of female directors, myself included, I don't want to work on those shows. And I will try my hardest to not. And I don't know if it's seniority or something, but I haven't had to, and I'm grateful.
Yeah.
And so Clifford, bless him,
up on his
one of those, he's like, he just wants to make sure he's like, he's not crossing any lines. He's like, I'm trying to be as respectful as possible. This is our job today. Let me outline what the job shall entail, and we're gonna get through it. Thanks, man.
Okay, I love it.
He's really passionate. He's a very passionate person and very professional.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. I had thought I'd heard stories. It might be Gamers is probably one. I'm thinking of
He did Keijo, which is really silly.
Oh, I love that.
They like beat each other with their butts or something.
Yeah, boobs and butts. That's the only
Yeah, he cast me in that as a joke. Because there was some people online who thought that I needed to be one of the main girls in it. And so instead he cast me as the coach.
Right.
Instead. And that all of that is just my Jeremy Inman impersonation. So
really?
Before every time I would record, I'd just be like, well, what do we have here? And then like
bourbon.
Yeah. That's
my Inman.
Yeah, it's good. It was fun. It was really fun.
Want to see a picture of my cat? Yes.
Good too.
This is one of those days where,
Love
like,
you, Jeremy. He's
at
like
the
our
end of the
mascot,
day,
let's
I'm
be
just gonna
honest.
be like,
He's
I
our
can't.
mascot.
That's so great. That's so great. Oh man. Oh, Caitlin, talk about the version 3. Like, one of the things I loved learning from you yesterday was like, there's first of all, I had no idea that 3 was recorded like simultaneously. Like, you would do Hope
The
and
two
Despair,
parts. Mhm.
and like, oh my gosh, like, talk about whip, because I know I usually watch most anime. I'm gonna be honest. Season 1, I did it while I was doing yard work, but the third one, I was like, I'm pretty sure I missed something. So a lot of it was on screen. Um, did you have a reaction to that moment in that last scene before you expire? Where you tell Naegi, I mean, you totally, like, I don't know, you almost made everybody go to bed. They locked themselves in the room because they were all concerned that there was a killer out there, and the only way to do it was to, like, kind of like slumber with people that you trust. And then so she, like, they run through the day, they make it, they're alive, and then they go and they lock themselves into different rooms and separate themselves, and so it's like Naegi and Kirigiri and one other character, um, and then it's when she said that, whatever happens next, don't lose hope.
Yeah. It's because she knows.
She knows.
Mhm.
Um, was there anything in particular that you had to put yourself in headspace wise to, talking about the best performances are when we believe that you're Kirigiri? Like, what was that like in terms of knowing that was it, and that Naegi had to wake up to you being dead?
Um, well, sometimes it's easy to get into that place because we come to really love our character and the very, very brief time that we get to spend with them. I mean, when I think of fans that enjoy a show, they will watch it again and again.
Yep,
And also they have more time with their character than I ever will.
that's true.
So when you come to love a character as you're performing them, like, just the thought of, like, oh my gosh, this is it for her. Like, that is touching to me. And I knew recording that day that it was going to be what I thought was my last day. And in fact,
Really?
when I had to come back for the end, when I'm
Yeah.
like, hey guys, and I'm like, what am I doing today? I thought I was going in to do pickups. And Chris is like, oh no, I didn't tell you. I'm like, no, you didn't tell me. Hey guys, look, I'm still here. So yeah, it was special. It was like my opportunity to kind of say goodbye to the character also.
Do you have anyone else that? So you said you were dead in season 2 of Attack on Titan. You said you're dead pretty.
One. Yeah.
Yeah.
One.
Are there other not season 1 deaths that you had to die? I don't.
It's not season 1. Black Cat. Jamie's also in Black Cat.
Yeah.
There only is one season, but I'm this very beloved character that, like, spoiler, she dies early on. Very early. And it was a long show, like 26 episodes back when that used to be a season, was 25, 26. Yeah. So I'm out by like episode 6 or 8. And we're talking, she's the girl. You think it's about her and Jason Liebrick's character, Train. You think it's going to be them doing whatever they do for the show. But then no, she dies, and her death is an extremely important catalyst for what happens to the main character moving forward.
Did you know, or did you only know that day? Like, did you see that one coming?
We knew because back then it wasn't simuldubbed.
Oh, like, so you had the whole
2008. I mean, I guess actually probably 2007. 2007, I think, is when we did that. And Jeremy Inman, speaking of the devil, was the director. For that one. Jeremy and Tyler, I think, shared it.
Tyler, I remember Tyler doing it too.
I remember Jeremy auditioning and all the things he wanted to do with the voice, and she was really fun and quirky and very memorable. Like, I still have people come up to me and with their Black Cat DVDs or manga, and I'm like, thank you for liking this super old show that we did that was quirky and weird, and They play a really bizarro, sweet girl who's out. She gone.
That was a really fun show. That was another one where I got to do several different voices based upon her because she was a spy.
Yay.
But I have also had to say nanotechnology and technical stuff a lot, and it drove me crazy because we didn't.
In Black Hat?
Yeah, that was before like nanotechnology was a known word,
Right.
and I was like, "What is this foreign sound coming from my face?" Like, yeah, I was like, "Spoiler alert!" But it has been 13 plus years, so it's time.
Yeah.
It's
Have
time.
you been in anything else really sciencey, Jamie? Like super like where you just have to pause and be like, I don't know what's happening. I don't.
You know what? Not anime, but I did do. My friend's father wrote how-to books for different mammography equipment and stuff like that, and so I did the audio book for the training of that. That was a challenge. I mean, just having to say mammogram and mammography in the same sentence is challenging.
Wow.
But then there was a whole bunch of other stuff. I didn't even know what they were talking about. You know, just all these. Yeah, that was probably the most challenging technical stuff because it was just what, and there was no time to ask what all of it meant. It's like just say the words right, like you know what you're talking about, and move forward. So
I think the only time I feel like I just can't listen too hard is Railgun.
I
Like,
put a scientist in that one.
okay, right? It's a very like, oh man, it's a brainy show. I feel like that universe of Railgun and Accelerator, and they're like, I
can't keep up with what's going on. I don't know how Jerry does, especially because I remember who all these people are and how they're related. And I just show up and go, who am I? What am I doing today? Okay, cool. Science. Yes. Talk science with your normal voice, Caitlin. Got it. Yes.
Show up and be shady with a fan and you're done. That's me. That's all it is.
Yeah, I honestly, I think it was probably 2 seasons. I watched 2 seasons and I'm like,
I can't.
I don't know who the good guys are. I don't know who the bad guy. I don't know if I'm for the church, if I'm against the church. I honestly, it's clearly a commentary on science versus religion, but I just am so not committed to any. I'm committed to these characters, but I guess it's in an ode to great storytelling. I can't pick a side. I'm this far into it. I'm just waiting for the truth to reveal itself to me. Like, it's an interesting universe, and the fact that they'll take Railgun and then outside of the Index series, and then you're like, I'm not super sure if I'm ahead in Index and behind in Railgun or when Accelerator. Yeah, so that's
who knows.
But I like that they understood it enough to know that people really responded well to Index. Like one of J.K. Rowling's like just biggest faux pas of her career was she was just like, oh, Harry Potter's over. And then like everyone it just got more and more negative and more and like fans essentially just demanded that there be more. And then she was like, oh, fine, I'll do a play. You get the Cursed Child, but you only get it as a play. And then they're like, nah, and then finally you go back and
good. I've read it.
Really?
No, I don't like it. That was dumb. It felt like fan fiction.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Not so much like that her writing was bad or her word choice, but it felt like, you know, when fans are really into a story and then they want to figure out how can I insert myself into this story, or how can I write my own ending to this ship that I really like.
Really?
So yeah, the characters felt kind of cookie cutter, like, and so this one's going to be Harry and Ginny's kid, and over here is like Ron and Hermione's kid, and then this one is the Draco's kid with so and so, and it's like it's just like watered down what you already liked. Yeah.
Okay.
And because I'm a theater professional, as I was reading the play, and it has like stage directions and descriptions of what's happening with the set, or it doesn't. It just says, and then this, you know, turns into something. I'm like, how are you going to do that in a play? This is a play. This is how you can do that. So I'm like, I'm out. Like, I was determined to finish reading the thing.
Oh no!
Like, this isn't a play. This could have been, there's that joke when you go to a meeting and you're like, why, this could have been an email. Like, I felt that.
Yeah.
Oh shoot.
Yeah.
Did it get performed?
It has been. somehow. And I
wonder,
like,
though.
how did they do these
How did they
things?
do
Like
that?
people disappearing, or this turns into something. Like maybe there's some really amazing new theater tech that I am unaware of.
Yeah. Well, it
but-
seems very appropriate to her to write something and then make everybody else deal with her problem instead of taking ownership and solving it herself and doing the right thing. Instead, she just makes it everybody else's problem.
Yeah.
She knows her brand.
on brand
She's
for her.
she's sticking with that brand. That's
She's
right.
sticking with that brand.
Yeah, brand.
Did Magical Beast work any better for you?
I, in fact, enjoyed those more than this. People are going to think that I'm a Harry Potter hater. I'm not. I think I was just maybe a little too, I don't know. I didn't get into the craze of Harry Potter as it was coming out. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed reading the books. But the movies were like, okay, cool. Maybe I was just too old for them to just like be my everything. So what's cool to me about Fantastic Beasts is that it was about adults.
Yeah.
And not kids.
It's
and
true.
it was also a period piece, and like yes, so like the costumes and all that I could really get into.
Really
You'll
nice.
always get us with costuming. That's just
and
Are you
dialects and stuff, because like while what's his bucket, Newt, like he's British, but then you've got these really neat like early 20th century American accents going on.
Yeah.
It was cool. I think I liked both of them. They're really fun.
Very cool. Jamie, are you a theater buff?
Yeah, I have a theater degree as well. Yeah.
Are you ever tempted? Have you done? I know Emily Neves was working on a play in quarantine that they did virtually, that they put together. Do you ever feel drawn back to the light of the stage?
I mean, nothing beats performing live. Nothing. So yeah, absolutely. But also I don't want to strike anything ever again. So I don't.
Strike is when you that's a little theater jargon.
Yeah,
theater
please.
jargon. Striking is taking down the set when the show is done.
Oh,
yeah.
So you want to show up and act and then just go home.
Yeah, most, if you're in like a Broadway production or something like that, you're not going to be doing that.
No, you don't.
But for most theaters, if you do a show, you are also responsible for helping take down the set, and I don't love that. It makes me sneeze really bad. I am super allergic to sawdust. So
it's one thing when you're in college and you have to, because you're getting credit. Like you have to, if you were in the play, even if you weren't in the play, are you a theater major? You show up and you strike the set.
Okay.
But at the end of 4 years, you have a piece of paper to show for it.
Right.
You're like,
where's my degree in set removal? Because I don't want that, and I don't want to do it again. But no, I do love performing live. I would absolutely love to do it again. It's just sometimes, especially with convention going to conventions, it doesn't lend itself to being able to commit yourself to a 6-week run.
Yes.
And that's because it's not just a 6-week run.
Right.
It is 6 weeks before the run, 4 to 6
Get
weeks.
ready. Yep.
Doing rehearsals every day, and so it's a lot. It's a huge time commitment that is already committed to other things most of the time.
It's hard. It's hard for those of us that are kind of. It feels weird saying it, but like these voice acting, I guess, veterans, you put us in the veteran category. We've been doing it for 15 plus years.
For sure.
So for us, voice acting, or then if we migrated into directing or writing like Jamie did, that really became our full-time job.
Yes.
And there were so few of us that we became these convention personalities, these desirables for those things that were quite lucrative. And so we realized, well, this is my career now. Now I think, and I promote and search out theater actors to bring them into the booth, because I want people that know how to act. And like Jamie said, I like to cast so I can trust them. It's like, I can trust that you know how to use your tools and we speak the same language, and I can mold what you're doing to fit these flaps because this medium is a little foreign to you. And there are plenty of working actors in Dallas now that navigate all of these things. They're on stage.
That's cool.
Like one of my favorite, I guess, finds or something of the last few years is my friend Christopher Lewin Ramirez, who's like a company member at Dallas Theater Center, and I cast him in the lead in Radiant, and he freaking killed it. Like he's
Seth?
fantastic. Yeah, he's Seth.
Oh, he is great.
Isn't he good? He's so good.
Great.
And other folks from that same resident acting company, or maybe they aren't in that company anymore, but they have been, like Brandon Potter and Akron Watson, who like
Brandon
went
Potter
on
was well, we were just talking about the one from 15 years ago.
Oh,
Black Cat.
Black Cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's easier for those folks now to navigate that world. They have talent agents, so they're doing commercial,
Right.
they're doing spots on TV stuff. They come in and they put in 4 or 5 hours a week or less, who knows, depends on the week, on some anime. At night they go and have rehearsal. But for those of us that have made it more a career, like Jamie could be in tons of shows, and the last thing she wants to do is then go to rehearsal at night when she wants to go home and see her fiance and her kids and her dogs. And me, like my husband would like to see me. So if I'm going to be in a play, we have to, it's a discussion.
It's a huge commitment. But I think, theater trained actors transition easier into voiceover performance because voiceover film is very, very natural, but voiceover isn't. I like to say, like, there's a reason that comedians are always really good. Like, if you think of some of the best voice actors, a lot of times they're comedians. And because they're performing on stage larger than life, and they are larger than life personalities, which most of the time what we're playing when we're voice acting are larger than life personalities, because we don't want to watch animated shows and see people that are just exactly like us. We want so that on stage you do have to be bigger for the people in the back row to see you. You do have to be larger than life. So bringing that into voice acting is, I think, an easier transition than other forms, I would say.
Yeah, which is why they'll do, when like Hollywood has some big animated feature and they stunt cast it, you could see an actor that like you adore watching them, and I really love their voice coming out of their actual face. But when it's coming out of this animated bird or something, I'm like, I'm not buying it. It just needs to be that much more. I call it vocal energy. Just an energy behind your voice and your performance, and stage actors get it, whether it's about performing to the back of the room. I equate dubbing in anime because I think I like to get more what I call cinematic reads out of my actors, a little bit more understated and like realistically dramatic. I equate it to like musical theater, which is just a bit more heightened reality. Because you as an audience and people in the play have to suspend your disbelief that it's perfectly normal to just launch it to song and express your words that way. So you live in a different place. And it's also a little like children's theater, where you have to perform things a bit more strongly so that these young ones understand the emotions that you're showing them.
Yeah. And I think too, the other thing with theater, and I think that this transition helps too, because you can do a very, very real read, but you have to fill the space. So when you are on stage, you're not just taking up the stage on the stage. It's the entire space of the whole entire building. And so you have to have that presence to carry the character to get that attention. Children's theater is a really great way to get that attention as well. You have to maintain it. And it doesn't matter how quiet you are or how soft the read, maybe, or intense or whatever. You have to hold that space the entire time and have that presence. What's his name? God, the voice of God, Morgan Freeman.
Oh, Morgan Freeman, who plays God?
He's such a great example of that, because when he speaks, we're all like, yes, and all he says is hello, and we're like,
yes.
What do you say?
More.
You have that presence, and that's one of the things that's so important to have. And when you're on stage, you learn how to get that presence just by walking on stage. So it's but of course, Caitlin and I also love theater, so we're going to be partial to it.
No, I think I really love that comment about acting to the back of the room. That I have done.
Normal.
Improv is my shtick. I get tickled every time somebody reveals that, because we hear all the time, I want to do this, so what do I need to do? And one of the things that gets recommended a ton is improv classes, comedy sports. I grew up I was blessed to live in a town that had a comedy sports team in Raleigh, North Carolina, and we would go on weekends, and a bunch of us started taking the classes, and it was on Sundays, so like I was out because I'm a religious guy, and then I'm like, oh, like that's it. It's only Sundays. Okay, so I would go the night my friends were on stage, and then they would ask for audience volunteers.
You're like,
And then,
hey, please
yeah, and
pick
then my friends would pick me, and then they would put me on the team, and so then I would still get to play, but I didn't have to go to the practices. And you couldn't always be picked because it's not fair if you don't go to the
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
But then I would go to other cities. Indianapolis has a team, San Jose has it, Sacramento, and they would have no idea, and so then they would get me in it. Be like, one of the teams asked for me to stay. That like we did 3 games, and then we went backstage, and they're like, could you play the rest of the show? I was like, sure.
Right.
So they would like trade me back and forth to different teams. It was a lot of fun. Do either of you have so Chris, I put your comment up on the screen because I had to in college, and I wish to gosh I could remember how this happened. But at some point in the university center, as we were all going through the food line, that happened, Carissa. Like somebody was humming a song, and so like me trying to be clever, so I would like sing the words to let them know, like I hear you. But then somebody heard me singing, and they went they're like, well, I'm gonna do what he and before you know it, the whole university center was singing the song, and it was the most surreal, like this only happens in the movies. This is the coolest thing. It was really so yeah.
What were you singing? What were you singing?
Well, what? So it'd be 19. Oh man, Caitlin, that's a long time. Oh man, in 2000 to 2001. I don't know, I'm gonna have to spend. So that was 19 years ago. Let me see if I can remember. Like it would take a lot of my energy to remember that now.
Like what the best song could be. Suddenly everybody is singing.
Yeah. So I'll go back and look at like a bunch of like top hits.
When I was in high school, it probably would have been Rent.
Oh, you know, it was like a song.
Or Assassins was really big in high school too. Remember, everybody was always singing stuff like that. But that's how I live my life. I am constantly singing random songs. And Jack is the same way. And luckily, we both have the same like musical experiences. Yeah. So if I start singing something in the next room, I can hear him sing it. Or that is our house. And even the girls now will pick up on it.
Only one in my house will sing with me. Bea, my oldest daughter, is the only one. We were on our I was dropping her off at her friend's house. I don't know what Rachel is doing. And so I was like flipping through the songs, and then I heard her start, and so I just like left the song, and then we were at full-blown performance by the time we got to her friend's house. And then it's like, pause. All right, I will come back at this time, or I'm going to end your life. Okay, cool. Great seeing you. All right. Like switch into dad, and then, but like Rachel won't sing with me. Novin's like, this is stupid. This is not from a Transformers movie, you know. He'll put on dramatic movie scores, and for the next 4 hours, he's perfectly happy to live in like the battle scene of a Transformers movie for 4 hours.
Oh yeah, I can't do. I need some bubble in there.
Yeah. Either of you improv at all?
Well, I mean, I think you've had to do it if you have ever,
been in theater. Yeah,
been in theater. You had to do it, whether you want to or not. I certainly have. I prefer sketch comedy. I like.
What? Do you really?
Yeah, 100%. Give me a script. I prefer a script that I can dive into. But I'm also a control freak, so I don't love doing improv. I want to be in control of something. Okay. But anxiety works that way. I was
gonna say, do you get nervous if you played on an improv? Like, would you be nervous?
Performance-wise, there's always a little bit, but I find that to be what drives you forward.
Yeah, right.
But I just, in general, I want to be in control. Otherwise, I have anxiety. Even when I'm in control, I have anxiety. What am I talking about? But if it's improv, I will just be anxious in general around the whole event. But I still think everybody should do it.
Oh, sure.
Especially if you want to be a voice actor, but especially in this industry too, you don't get time to make choices ahead of time. You just you make a choice and you go. And so trusting your instincts is a really, really
huge
deal. Yeah, you have to learn how to do that. But I prefer sketch because you can still be ridiculous and
yeah.
You know,
Did you grow up on SNL? Did you watch a ton of SNL?
Yeah, I watched SNL. I was in a comedy troupe 15, 20 years ago. Yeah, for a little while there that I did a lot of really inappropriate comedy. So when people are like,
you don't say,
how was that for you? Were you offended by anything?
Like that was a Tuesday.
They ain't got nothing on some of the stuff that we did. And then, well, the first is like, I was the lead writer for the adaptation of Panty and Stocking. So I was not embarrassed saying any of those things.
Wrote it, bitches.
Yeah. But yeah, so, but sketch was my preferred.
Do you have a favorite from SNL? Do you have a favorite comedian? Do you keep a list of favorite comedians? Who do you respond to in the world of comedy?
And like all times, Carol Burnett. I mean,
she's a bad bitch. Yeah,
she sure is. She sure is.
You watched her show growing up? I'm old enough to be able to. Okay.
Yeah. Before SNL, that was more appropriate, right? I was allowed to watch that. It was far more appropriate. And then when I got older, watching SNL became a thing. But you know,
what are you like, Eddie Murphy or Dan Aykroyd? I like almost the most of the mega superstar comedians were all on SNL.
Yeah, a lot of them were. Or should have been, I guess. You know what? I think we watched Mad TV.
Yeah.
I remember Mad TV.
SNL,
like a really huge voice actor, who's how come I can't think of his name at all?
It's huge.
I'm awful. Why can't I Phil Lamar, thank you. Phil Lamar.
Yes.
He's hilarious. It's a great dude.
So funny. And but
In Living Color? Did anyone watch In Living Color?
Yes,
the Wayans brothers.
Absolutely. Yes. And I probably watched those more than SNL. For me, SNL is Tina Fey, Amy Poehler.
Oh, that's like more recent. Okay.
Yeah, it's more recent. But still, you know, it's been a while. But I just what I love, and I'm a Libra, so I really like friendship. It's magic.
Yes, it saves the day.
But I love that there's two strong, very talented women that were in a show together and they weren't pitted against each other. They were allowed to be friends. So often when there's two women that are really talented, people want them to fight. In the same way that with Junko, people wanted me to fight with the other Junko.
Yep.
Weren't going to become friends. So when we did.
I love it.
So I think I really love that about them is that they got to maintain this friendship and also be incredibly powerful and funny. Yeah.
All right, Caitlin, are you a fan of comedy? Did you do improv? Are you?
Yeah, I did improv in high school. Like we had a team.
Yeah.
It was high school improv. But it was like a regular thing. Like every Wednesday we would perform at lunch. And so people could come in and watch us. And
that's so cool. Okay.
Yeah. I don't remember being very good at it. Maybe it was fun though. It was fun. Yeah. And like the major pillars of what improv have not changed. So it's really important to learn them from an early age. And just because I've learned them doesn't mean that I'm like 100%. I follow them as I should. Yeah. Like Jamie mentioned, we don't have time as dub actors to read a script before we get there. Right. Now, because of streaming,
even more.
Actors can possibly, if they have time or want to, watch the episode in Japanese.
I got you. Yep.
But a lot of us don't want to because we never got that before. So why change our method now? You know? Yeah. So it's all about the cold read and just deciding, make a decision and go with it. And then part 2 of that is being flexible enough to change your decision based on what the director tells you and not fight with what they want you to do. Though sometimes I fight. No, I can question. I may be like, can you elaborate? Or why is that?
Yeah.
We do have that luxury. But like, there's
awesome.
a really great little improv game called New Choice. Where
it's
2 characters and you just start a scene and someone can say new choice. So you go, I'm going to the store, new choice. I'm going to the doctor's office, new choice. I'm going to a funeral. and then you just got to
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
Like,
And
Comedy.
then you
Let's
go
stick
from
with
there.
that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Those
have-
are good. Yeah, I would say the other thing too is like because you learn to trust your instincts. So then when
Yeah.
someone's like, "Do this thing instead," you're like, "Hold
you're
on,
like,
I haven't been spending my whole life learning to trust my instincts to now be told
right, what to do.
So
Yeah.
that's where the elaborate comes
Right.
from. 'Cause
Let's
it's like,
talk
wait,
about
my instincts say something else. And sometimes getting more information is what then then you can see that perspective or that point of view. But
but
the
I'm
other thing
also
I love about I love working with people who do improv, who have done improv, because they are far more flexible as well. One of my
Yep.
favorite people, I love her name's Amy, and she's one of my writing partners. She did improv. I know her from college. And so whenever we write together, we're coming up with something, it's always a yes and.
Right.
Whenever, which is a big improv thing, you know, you don't say
Yes.
you say yes and. So it's like
Yep.
we could have this, yes, and we could have this. And so we have such a great creative space because no one is
Yay.
being told no. It's always yes and then
And
that
yes,
other things.
Yep.
Yeah. It's really nice to have improv people in your life.
I love it.
Yeah.
one of our staff directors at Funimation, Anthony Bowling,
Yeah.
is part of a local improv. They're kind of legends 4-day weekends because
4-day
while
Okay.
other improv teams have come and gone, they are still here. And Mike McFarland, gosh, how could I not mention? So his troupe are not around anymore, but they're called Section 8 Comedy, and it was him and Chris Rager and some other actors that I know. I can't remember who, but yeah, they used to perform regularly as well. And we used to do improv at anime conventions. So that's probably the last time I've done improv. It would be like if Mike was there and the
Yeah.
con was up for
Yeah.
it, he would lead. And he's a musician too. So we could do music-based
That
games.
is so cool.
Yeah, and other folks that we used to play with would be a lot of the Houston crew because Houston actors are like severely entrenched in theater.
Oh, yes, yes.
So when Chris Ayers was still running around doing cons, a lot of the theater crew grew up with him like as their teacher or their mentor.
Yeah.
So he would run improv panels with the likes of Monica and Chris Patton and Brittany Karbowski, Carly Mosier, and we'd get to play. And this is wild because they have their own chemistry with each other. They've all played with each other for so long. And to step into that world and be like, what is happening? And Greg Ayers, of course, too, would man, those are some of my favorite cons. But that was the early days of conventions for us, the early 2000s. Yeah.
If we go back to once everyone realizes this is the new common cold, we'll figure out a way around it and we'll go back.
Once it becomes the common cold, and there are 100,000 people have it as of right now.
Yeah, the numbers are higher now than they've ever been in the entire year. So welcome to the new rhinovirus. Mother, wear your mask.
Mother, wear your masks.
Mother, wear your mask. We have got to do this. The next time we're together. I mean, you don't have to, but I would love to do a panel where we do some comedy sports. Forward reverse is another one I super love. Yeah.
I would to practice because it's been so long, but it would be super fun to get people that do improv on the regular. I mean, Anthony obviously right now can't be performing with 4-day because of COVID. I don't know what they have been doing, but still he would be every weekend.
Eric is another one. Eric Vale has an improv comedy.
Yeah, he does. Caitlin Barr is in that, and she's great. So I would love to do something and let the folks that do it all the time kind of remind us this is how we play this.
That's how we play the game.
I would have a rehearsal.
Personally, I would prefer to do a table read of an episode of something.
That'd be cool too.
Yeah, I would love to do that. Yeah.
I'm not in any. I can't participate. I'm not. I mean, I guess you could cast me as something, but
that's right.
I just want to play too.
You can play. If you do a play or a screenplay, there's.
I would. Yeah, totally. Oh, okay. So at church, I would do the tech for a Christmas program.
Yeah.
I ended up with I would teach seminary, which is where they make high school kids get up early in the morning and go learn about the scriptures at 6 a.m. before we send them to high school. That we make them go to church first, and then we talk about stuff for an hour or 45 minutes, and then they go. Well, every Christmas, one of the years I ended up with this class full of actors. Everybody was in musical theater in the high school improv comedy troupe like you were, Caitlin. And so we're put on a play, guys. And so like that was my job, was like all the like directing, and then like I would work the lights and the blocking, I think is what it's called when you decide where people go.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh man. As I knew it would, I knew we were gonna get to the end of our time. What a freaking great, for anybody who this has probably been a really helpful panel for anybody who genuinely wants to be an actor, to understand there's so much technical ability that you bring, and that to be trusted with a role, your director has to know, and your writer can write to you if they know that you can do these things, like Michael writing Danganronpa for his friends, knowing, okay, Jamie can do this, and Caitlin can do this, and okay, Josh can do this, Bryce can, like, that was insane. Like, and that's what produces such a spectacular series like Danganronpa.
One of my favorite things about it is the Yes Queen. Yes Queen.
Yes.
And it's the most popular quote that I get requested to say out of everything. My number one question is, when's the next season of DxD? I don't know. And then the second week, like my most common quote is Yes Queen. And so my favorite thing about that is that was Michael writing it, because we had a friend at the time who said Yes Queen about everything. So,
really?
Yeah. Do you want some water? Yes, Queen.
Yes, Queen.
Cool. Do you want me to go ahead and shut the door? Yes, Queen. Like, stop it. And so finally, he writes this in there. It's kind of a personal joke. And initially, Bevins was like, well, I don't know. I was like, you have to let me do this. And so I did it. And then he was like, yeah, obviously we're keeping that.
Oh, yay.
I love it because it kind of transcended. At first, though, now this is one of those lines that is not obviously in the Japanese, but because I didn't write it, everybody's okay with it. When at the beginning, though, some people hated it or whatever, and I would get comments on Twitter about, yes, Queen, it's so bad. Why would you do that? And I loved it because it was Junko. All I could reply is just, oh, does that make you despair?
Oh,
it's a win-win for that line. And I just love how great it's been. Like, it's very much a Michael and me joke. And so I just love that it transcends.
I think it was the very, very last moment. Someone will have to correct me if I'm wrong. So chat, you can totally jump on me but the very last moment of Danganronpa 3 is Junko and her little protege, like talking to each other. And she's like, Junko's like, bitch, we're dead. We're dead. So she's like, we need to do blah, blah, blah. She's like, girl, we dead.
Yeah.
Did you miss that memo? Because you dead as a doorknob. Yeah. Oh, I love it. Ladies, thank you.
I would recommend having close personal friends write your scripts.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Everybody should request that. It's totally realistic. Yeah. Oh man. Okay. Parting shots. Things that you want to direct me to on the internet, to causes that you're working for, charities that you're raising money, gratuitous self-promotion, whatever it is that you want to point attention to. Caitlin, where do you want to go on the World Wide Web to direct people's attention?
You need to go online and look up your polling place and freaking vote.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there something other than vote.org, or is there?
I don't know. I just
is the best.
I think it's vote.org, or you can even just Google polling place near me, and like the first thing that comes up in Google is a program or app that you put in your zip code, and it shows you on Google Maps like your 3 closest polling places. So it's so important. Early voting is over, so now it's all up to you guys on the day to make a plan and get out there and do it to it. And it's so important. It's so important anytime. And yes, it's a really contentious year, and I'm not here to tell you how to vote. But a lot of people often in elections, they think that their vote doesn't matter because the state they live in or the county that they live in always goes one way, and it's always the opposite of them. But I think more than any other year, every single vote is going to count. Like just today, I was reading about how in Harris County, which is Houston County, they're trying to throw out 100,000 votes that were cast in good faith that
Yep.
these votes would matter. And there is an attempt to get them thrown out. And maybe it'll happen. And that would be awful. But if some other person sat at home and didn't vote at all, then that's a 100,001 vote
Yeah.
that didn't get counted.
Well,
So like you have to go. You have to do it.
Yeah.
I will.
And don't mail it in. Go ahead and go to a ballot drop box. Go ahead and vote in person.
Yep.
Mailing in right now, they're really trying to fight against allowing your vote to matter if you mail it in. It might be too late, depending upon where you are, to get it in time, because they're changing the rules as they go, as they see that possibly they might not win. So yeah, don't mail it in.
County commissioner. So I'll assist both of these lovely ladies. The county commissioner, you can go and drop off your ballot to the county commissioner. Go to the office of your local city government or town and municipality, and you can literally. That's how we live in the middle of nowhere in Iowa. So we we voted at the county commissioner's office, and they hand you the mail-in ballot, and then you hand it back to them.
Okay.
Yeah. And then to Caitlin's point, 60 million people voted for one candidate in 2016. 60 million people voted for a second candidate in 2016. 90 million people didn't vote in 2016. Yeah. So to Caitlin's point about how much your vote matters so much that there are more people that have abstained from voting than have voted for a candidate. And then this year, there's lots of options in the state of Iowa. We had 8. It was great. I was very happy to see that. And so in many states, you can not vote for another. You don't have to. You don't have to choose. You don't have to feel like you have to choose. Just go vote. A lot of people died for that right. Women couldn't even vote until women's suffrage became a thing. People of color couldn't vote. Yeah. They haven't even ratified the ERA. So it's a bit ridiculous. So get at, right? I mean,
that's ridiculous. Go vote.
Yeah, everybody vote. All right, Jamie, what do you want to go?
Well, that's the big one. But
okay.
I will also say tonight at 7 p.m. Central.
Let's do that.
So yeah, we definitely want to promote that. Come watch that. That's J. Michael Tatum and myself. We host a podcast. Caitlin's actually been on it, where we tell ghost stories and the history of haunted locations. And every Halloween we do some event for our listeners. This year we're going to do a panel where we tell ghost stories. It should be a lot of fun. And so come to that. Enjoy it, and you can follow Caitlin on Instagram and Twitter.
Caitlin's voice.
And you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok as well. So TikTok's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it. So I hope you guys, if you're on TikTok, follow me there, because it's been a blast.
So to find that ticket for the Ghoul Intentions. So if you're a Ghoul Intentions member, go check the Discord, because the Discord will give you super fancy there's discount codes in the Ghoul Intentions Discord.
Patreon member, yeah.
Yep. You also get to participate in the chat. You get to talk. Everybody's going to be. So make sure that you get the link. For those who are not part, there's still time to go to Jamie and Michael's Ghoul Intentions Patreon. Ghoul Intentions. Oh, it's literally right at the top. Yeah. It's literally at the top. So just go grab this. Grab the tickets are free. So go. Jamie, that's my favorite picture, by the way.
Thank you.
With the burger. Yeah.
It's the taco. It's my sexy taco picture.
It is. Yeah, we're gonna leave it right there.
I love
it. So just go cop one of these tickets. They're free, and then it'll be inside your ticket on their My Media for Tixer. Hey, look, Honey says that I can save money, but it's already $0. We fixed the issue where you couldn't watch inside your ticket. It's all fixed. We were on Tixer customer support after hours last night, and those people are great. And so they made it so you can watch the Ghoul Intentions right from inside your ticket on your app or web browser. Yeah. So it's all ready. Okay.
We'll be there tonight getting ghouly with it.
Thank you so much. I think everybody has Hangouts, so definitely go check your emails, and then we'll see you there. And then thank you so much for joining us on Colorworld Live today, Jamie and Caitlin.
Thank you, guys.
Bye, guys. Happy Halloween.
Bye.